Hello, welcome to the inaugural edition of what we're handily calling WrestleChaps Presents WrestleChats.
With the WrestleChaps.
With the WrestleChaps.
Yeah.
So WrestleChaps Presents WrestleChats with the... No, I said it wrong already. We fucked it. It's over. Let's go. Go home. Let's just go home now.
Yeah.
We're going to basically discuss the week's wrestling news, hopefully going forward on a weekly basis.
Adding to the pile of middle-aged white men discuss wrestling internet content.
Yeah, there was a gap there, and I think
it's a niche.
Yeah, it's gonna, we're gonna grow the market. Let's. I
think people, they want to hear it. They want to know.
They want to know what two middle-aged white guys think of the wrestling. Nobody else is doing that.
Nobody else is doing it, and I think a lot of the people who, if some people are doing it, they're just American.
Yes, obviously.
So be nice.
There you go.
We're getting different accents.
Get the British people on board and see how it goes from there. So I'm Daniel Lambley, Dangerous Danny Lamb, or at Lamco64 on Twitter, and with me is...
I'm going to do my own. I thought you might do it.
No, come on. Okay. With me is Gazz Wood, aka It's Me GTW on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's basically the guy who's in charge of the WrestleChaps Twitter account that you've commented on and been enraged by at some point. I'm sure.
I've been ratioed by many of you.
So basically, what we'll do is we'll have a quick chat about the wrestling week, the news, everything that's been going off. But first and foremost, how's your week been? What you been watching and what you've been playing?
I'll tell you what, mate. I have just finished Mass Effect 3 after what my Xbox thinks is 600 and some odd hours of playing it. That's because I leave it on standby and not switching it off.
It's the standby thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's more like 530 hours.
Oh.
Between 3 games.
Well, I mean, that's nothing. That's just a drop in the bucket, isn't it?
I barely played it.
Not even touched it, mate. But anything not wrestling? No, nothing?
No, I watched Marvel's What If on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
Which is currently being talked about by tens of people. No one seems to care.
No.
It's alright. It's good. It's worth watching. But it feels rushed.
I watched the first one. I saw the Captain Carter one. That was pretty good. It's alright.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. Perfectly fine.
All I keep seeing all over Twitter is people asking the people, like, why didn't you voice this? And, like, they're all going, nobody asked us to. And it just seems like a bit of a missed opportunity. If you're under a Disney contract, surely they'd go, hey, do you want to come in and do this? The worst they can do is say no, and then you just hire the person that you hired anyway.
I think a lot of them are on, like, Robert Downey Jr. deals where, like, 5 projects. And if you piss it away on the What If episode, that's it. Yeah. No Thor 5.
You can't be in Avengers 17 now because you've done that one episode of What If. Okay. Right. I have been... last night, I tell you what, actually, this is somewhat on topic. Last night I watched The Girl on the Third Floor, starring one Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk.
Why did you watch a film with a wrestler in it?
Well, we were flicking through Netflix, and it's on there, and the missus says she was up for a horror film, and I was like, all right, well, you asked for it. Because I was like, oh, look, CM Punk's in this movie. I said, because I'd like downloaded it but not watched it. And then she was like, oh, we'll put it on then. You know what? It was not bad.
Fucking hell.
And it wasn't anything to do with CM Punk, really. He was pretty good in it, to be honest. It's got kind of a Bruce Campbell vibe going off. He looks a bit like him. He was sort of acted a bit like him, I suppose.
Is he in it a lot?
Yeah, literally, like 85% of the movie is his face.
Oh, fucking hell.
To a certain extent. So, yeah, it's him carrying the movie. The only problem I had with the movie, it was just a bit... There weren't really any peaks and valleys, except for the end. It sort of ramped up a bit right at the end, but before that, it was just a sort of flat line of...
Is that in the third act? Is that when CM Punk sues the ghost? Makes friends with the ghost, on the girl on the third floor, and then sues the ghost and doesn't speak to the ghost anymore. Does a lot of podcasts about the ghost. Complaining about the ghost, promising never to speak to the ghost again.
Yeah, it was it was right at the end of Act 2. The ghost said that he couldn't have creative control over what was going off with his character or anything, and that was the end of it. So
that was it. He left the haunted apartment building for 7 years.
But yeah, check it out if you can. Go on the third floor. If you're up for a not bad horror film, it's not bad.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Lambley's not bad horror film corner.
A ringing endorsement there, if ever there was one.
It's alright.
Not bad, youth. Not bad. Right. Okay, so I've got my handy-dandy list here with all the results from every wrestling show this past week. And we'll start with the never-ending shit show that is WWE Raw.
I would like to, before we do that,
Yeah.
I'd like to build a distinction
Okay.
into this WrestleChat. So,
Oh,
now
yeah.
what we're going to talk about is Sports Entertainment's WWE,
Correct.
which is not a wrestling company.
It's not professional wrestling, though.
It is an entertainment content creator. And if you look on the WWE website, and if you look on the WWE Wikipedia page, that's what it says it is.
Yes.
The multimedia content creator. It's not a wrestling promotion. There was a SmackDown a couple of weeks ago that was 2 hours long with 23 minutes of wrestling on it.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. It's absolutely and what makes me laugh even more. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more later on when we talk about some of the other stuff. But the fact that they're pivoting harder into that now, when people are getting so fed up with them anyway, you know.
Well, I said at the time, like, it's not, if your cheese sandwich is 85% beef, it's not a cheese sandwich anymore. If your 2 hour wrestling show is only a quarter wrestling, then it's something else.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. But you know, if people see this, you know, and this is just technically the test version, this is the pilot, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, the sound's probably going to be shit, and you're going to be complaining about things other than Gaz's opinions. But yeah, I 100% agree on that. It's just fucking ludicrous. But anyway.
So yeah, what's gone on in the world of sports entertainment?
Well, Raw this week. Damian Priest, Bobby Lashley, got ECW'd into Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest versus Bobby Lashley and Sheamus. Claymore to Sheamus, 40-minute long tag match to open Raw. You know, those things happened, and these are like the main eventers. That's what made me laugh. I looked at these Raw results, and let's just say right off the bat, okay, anybody watching at home, we don't really watch WWE really at all. Sorry if that really miffs you or makes you mad, but you know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I watched it when I didn't. I'm literally just looking at the results for the first time here, and I'm like, shit me, Raw is rough at the minute, and has been for some time.
Well, Raw has been abandoned, hasn't it? Basically, all the talent has been shifted to SmackDown, to the point now where if you watch Raw, what you're watching is Lashley versus Drew, Sheamus versus Damian Priest, or some of those guys versus some of those other guys.
Various combinations of the above, exactly.
48-minute Charlotte promo about how she's either the champion now or would like to be the champion again.
Or will be challenging for the championship because she turned up and decided that that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
Since that's how it works in the WWE.
How it works.
So, yeah. So that happened. Karrion Kross. Oh, Jesus. Karrion Kross. Okay, so I purposefully set this up. He's right in between us now. There's a picture of him on the screen now that they can see.
So here.
Yeah, just diagonal a bit. Yeah, Karrion Kross. It's the close-up of him in his stupid entrance mask.
Here's my question about Karrion Kross. He is really boring.
Yes.
He's an entrance. He's Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's entrance was more over than Bobby Roode's ever been.
I mean, is Karrion Kross's entrance that good?
His NXT entrance was good, yeah. He had all smoke, and he'd come out with Scarlett, and the music was on, and they'd be all spotlights. There was a lot to it. There was a lot of production to it, and it gave some drama. So when he first debuted on Raw, he came out to none of that. He just walked out to his music. So nothing.
Nothing. They even took Scarlett off him as well, didn't they? He's just coming out on his own, isn't he? From what I heard.
The only thing that anyone cares about. Let's not do any of that. Let's just get him out there. And now they've stuck a cross on him because his name's Cross. So now he has to wear a big red leather cross.
Well, case in point, let's just we'll review that picture as well. There he is in his stupid pound shop Shao Kahn outfit.
Unbelievable.
Absolute shite. I mean, just look at it, for fuck's sake. I mean, okay, you started this with, I have a question. What is it? What is Karrion Kross now? What is it? Is it literally just, let's put crosses all over him and make him into a Captain Crossman? The Crossinator?
Yeah, he's Crossfire.
Yes.
He's Mr. Cross, and he wears a special hat, and he comes out in the special hat, but then he takes it off, and the hat plays no further part in the gimmick. So it's like when the Bludgeon Brothers had their hammers, and they'd come out with the hammers, and then they'd put them down
and never touch them.
And then don't look at those anymore. It's Schrodinger's mask. No one who works for WWE understands anything about dramatic narrative at all. So they've introduced him in his mask, and then he takes off the mask, and that is the end of the mask. And then later on, perhaps he'll put it back on again. But it has no bearing on anything he does.
It's Johnny Ace carrying a skateboard, is what it is.
It's nonsense.
So, I mean, now that we've ridiculed him, I mean, he beats Ricochet, perennial job artist in WWE, Ricochet, God, that infuriates the shit out of me. That
Ricochet doesn't exist anymore.
He basically doesn't. He's just there to take pins.
I think Benno from the Grapple Spotlight said that Ricochet doesn't exist anymore.
No.
It's WWE Ricochet, and that's a different man to Ricochet.
He tapped out or got choked out to Karrion Kross's submission finisher in 1 minute 18.
The funniest thing about that is when Karrion Kross came out ages and ages ago to no music, and he lost to Jeff Hardy on main event, and everyone went nuts about it. Everyone said, "Well, the story, you got to let the story play out."
Yeah, that old chestnut,
What's going to happen is he's going to come back and he's going to lose, and then when he gets Scarlett back, he'll win. But he hasn't got Scarlett back, and he's won. So you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You can pin ribbons to it all you want, but they're just making it up as they go along.
I can't fathom the mental gymnastics that they have to go through to buy into the bullshit. It boggles my mind.
The writing process for WWE? You know, at the end of the Wrong Trousers, where Gromit's zooming through the house on a train.
Yes.
Putting track
and
down.
He's laying the track down. Yeah,
it's that. And they don't know where they're going to end up. They go, "We'll put him out there." Perhaps
except instead of train tracks, it's literally segments.
Yeah. Oh no, Charlotte is champion now. Oh, everyone hates that. Somebody else. Nikki Cross is a superhero. Forget it. Let's not do that anymore.
It's the lack of
an enormous mess.
Follow through, though, isn't it? Like the way that they just get so cold, stop, start, hot, cold. Oh no, let's do there's no consistency. That's what does. Like, if you're going to be shit, be consistently shit. Don't be like up, down, all over. Oh, it's not bad this week, but it's just anyway.
Well, Damian Priest is a perfect example of that. Everyone says when you slag off the main roster moves of everyone, everyone says, "Oh, Damian Priest did really well. He was at a big match at WrestleMania, and they're really pushing him." So, yeah, he did have that big match at WrestleMania, and then he disappeared for 3 months. And then he came back, and then he wrestled Sheamus 1,000 times. And he's still doing that now.
I mean, some of that was... I know he was injured, wasn't he? That was... he was out... going into Mania, I think he was injured. He had a back injury going off, and that, didn't he? And then, once he'd done that, they let him be off for a bit. And I think that's why... What was his match at Mania? Who was that with? He was Bad Bunny and the tag... That's right, yeah. So they let him do that. I think they probably were going to pull the trigger on the US title win there, or something along those lines, but they had to shift it because he was injured. So now he's got that. But then it's like you say, now what? He's just going to be he's going to fall down a rematch hole with Sheamus for a bit.
Yeah, and then he'll wrestle the Miz for a bit, and then he'll wrestle Sheamus for a bit, and then he'll disappear, and then he'll be on main event wrestling Mustafa Ali and Ricochet, into the end of time, and then he'll be released.
It was only the other day I was, because when I was trying to figure out how long we'd been doing WrestleChaps for, the chat window that birthed all this, I was skipping back through the old stuff, and I saw you going on about Punish Martinez in like 2016, like, the Mexican Flying Undertaker.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods beats Miz with a small package because that's his finishing move, apparently.
Exciting.
Mansoor beat Jinder Mahal via DQ when Mahal attacked in the corner at 2:17.
Are they just making all of the Middle Eastern guys fight?
That is what they're doing. Yeah, you can go over there and do that because that will appeal to the Indian demographic, the people who watch us in India. They'll love a bit of that.
India. We need to keep them watching. So if you just do Mansoor, put him in a tag team. Ooh, who with? Someone interesting. Yeah, Mustafa Ali. They're both brown. Let's make them a tag team.
They do that a lot, admittedly.
It's not anything, is it? It's the Kabuki Warriors again.
Yes.
But look, it's Kairi Sane. She's well over. It's Asuka. Everyone loves her. Stick them in a tag team. Call them something racist. Get them out
there. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Of course, Shayna Baszler took the pin.
Solid push for two-time NXT Women's World Champion Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, like literally, she got moved up to main roster, and has literally almost consistently the entire time been jobbing, taking the pin in tag matches, taking the pin in single, like this whole time.
Women have been generally speaking in WWE fairly well taken care of
when they come up, make the move from NXT to main.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Like Rhea Ripley's doing gangbusters, and obviously you've got your 4 horsewomen who can't possibly lose or ever not be on a pay-per-view.
She's not blonde with massive plastic tits. That's what it is.
That's true. She's not.
Vince but Kevin Dunn won't push anybody who isn't what they deem to be attractive.
I knew that Shayna Baszler wasn't going to make it on the main roster from Money in the Bank last year. It was one of the first pay-per-views she was at when she got moved up, and she didn't take part in the actual on the roof part because she tripped over on some stairs, and then you didn't see her again.
She just tripped, and that was it. Oh, forget about that. That part's over now.
They were running up the stairs, and she tripped up on the stairs, and that was it. She was never referenced. She didn't come back upstairs.
That was enough to take her out of the ladder match, was she tripped on some stairs.
Yep. Push.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. And was that the main event? No. Oh, shit. I've lost my place.
I should fucking well hope
not. The main event was... Oh, no. Riddle beat AJ Styles 14-22. You know, if that match happens literally anywhere else...
I was going to say...
I'm all over that, like white on rice.
So you've just told me that Riddle wrestles AJ Styles, and I do not care.
No. In a, 14 minutes 22 for a WWE match, that's
not bad.
Fairly long stretch.
For a WWE TV match, but I'm not going to seek it out. I'm not going to watch it because I know it's going to be god awful.
I mean, for me, one of the main things is the way it's presented with the camera cuts and all that. I can't.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll be 14 minutes, so it'll be more cuts than a butcher's window. It'll be mental. Like you will get a severe migraine watching that match.
It'll be seizure-inducing cuts. So let's just go into that though very quickly off Raw as well. 14-11-2. Raw is 3 hours long, and there was probably about half an hour's worth of wrestling on it this week, maybe a touch longer, 40 minutes, something like that, which is just
beef
absurd.
Sandwich.
Jesus
Another
Christ.
Beef sandwich.
Another beef sandwich. Get that beef sandwich
that's
down
the
here.
problem. That's the difference. I ordered a cheese sandwich.
That's the name.
When I watch,
the name on the marquee says wrestling. That's what
it says cheese sandwich.
It says.
And when I go to AEW, when I watch AEW, what I get is a cheese sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it's not like very good quality cheese.
Yeah, sometimes they forget to put the butter on it, or this granary bread's a bit dry, but it's cheese.
It's a cheese sandwich.
It's what you rocked up for.
WWE, it says here live cheese sandwich, and you arrive and it's a beef sandwich with some parmesan on it.
and sweet peppers.
I don't like beef.
Or sweet peppers.
Cheese. They go, yeah, you fucking. I can't believe you don't like beef, you pathetic loser. And if you say you don't like beef, you don't like the WWE product, WWE superstars will come and call you a prick, which is mental.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so that's Raw in the box. We get a lot out of that because we moan about it. That's another thing as well. We don't want WWE to be shit. You've said that many a time on the Twitter. It's if WWE was shit art, we'd watch it. If it was presented in a way that didn't make me want to pull my own fucking eyes out, I'd watch it.
I would love it to be good. I wish that it was good.
I know. And everybody's like, oh,
but it's not. It's shit.
It is absolute shit. And at this point, apart from the odd time I'll dip back in for a match here and there if I hear something's good, I haven't watched it now for nearly 5 years. It's getting off 5 years. Yeah, exactly. So, I keep my eye on it from a distance. Anybody who says that they don't is a liar if they're a wrestling fan. But, we're all just waiting for it to be fucking good again.
And that's it. People that have gone off and fell off it and might sit on Twitter and slag off WWE all the time, like me.
Yeah.
I just sat on the sides, looking at it,
going,
waiting for it to be good again.
Yeah.
That's why we're still paying attention. That's why we can't just completely bin it off. Because you want it to be good. It used to be good. You used to really enjoy it. And you can't not just keep your eye on it, just on the off chance. Like, oh, maybe it's good. Maybe it'll be good now.
Yeah.
And you go back, like I did in 2016 for the last brand split, the big brand split.
You jumped on there, didn't you?
I jumped back on again. I was like, right, I've been watching NXT. They're doing a big old brand split again. They're bringing that back. I loved that first brand split. It was great. So maybe this will be good. Maybe they'll give everyone a bit more time, and it won't be the Shield for 6 hours a week. And it was, to be fair, it was good. The first few months or so.
They did sort of stick to it a bit, didn't they? And they didn't seem to be making quite as many, because they all got a fresh starting point. It wasn't quite as bad. The storylines had a little bit more focus for a little while there, but then obviously.
Well, SmackDown Live was really good. Raw has always been nonsense garbage, but you had two things to watch then. You could watch Raw, which was shit for idiot children. Then you could watch SmackDown, which was like a much better version of Raw, and then you could watch NXT, which was a much better version of SmackDown. So depending on what you wanted, if you only like sports entertainment, Mondays. If you only like wrestling, NXT.
Yeah.
And if you like a bit of both, SmackDown for you. And everyone was nicely catered for.
On the initial brand split as well, like back in the day, it was SmackDown was your wrestling show, Raw was your entertainment show. You'd still get wrestling obviously on the Raw, but it leaned more on the skits and the entertainment side and the promos and that. Whereas SmackDown was having SmackDown 6, Edge, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, World's Greatest Tag Team, all that sort of shit was going off.
Yeah.
And now obviously it seems like they're going to blanketly just make it all the same, which is
sludge.
Weird. Beef sandwich. Episode 1, beef sandwich.
Beef sandwich.
Let's get to the bit that we can actually probably discuss somewhat in terms of what actually happened on the show. This week's AEW Dynamite wasn't very good.
And it was episode 100, despite what AEW might try to tell you today.
I was just going to say, I saw that this morning. It turns out that technically it wasn't, because do you remember they did that 1 hour episode of Dynamite on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Just to test that out, I think it was way early on, wasn't it? They were including that in the count, so I don't think that quite counts, because it wasn't.
Well, I can very easily discern whether or not that episode counts towards the running total of episodes of Dynamite. It's a really easy test that we can do.
Was it called?
That show, was it called Dynamite? Or was it called literally any other word?
Yes.
Actual real 100th episode was bad, and they should feel bad.
It was bad, and they should feel bad for making it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go through it then. You got opener, Orange Cassidy beats Matt Hardy.
Weird opener.
I mean, considering what else was on the show, I mean, it's good.
Oh yeah.
It's a good grabber. It's like, Matt Hardy. People know him. People like Orange Cassidy. I understand the
But
place on the card.
no, they don't. People who watch AEW like Orange Cassidy.
Oh really?
But a lot of people watching it this week will never have watched Dynamite before.
Yeah.
So they watched Rampage because CM Punk came back, and then he's going to be on Dynamite, so they'll watch Dynamite. And the very first match you show them is Matt Hardy from 20 years ago and Orange Cassidy, who you don't know. And he does his weird comedy kicks, and you think, I'm not going to watch this anymore. This is fucking stupid.
I mean, I would wager that. I mean, if you're gonna put your foot forward like that, then you've got the best of both worlds there. You've got a talent you probably, if you've never watched AEW, you've got Orange Cassidy you've never seen before. But oh look, this Matt Hardy, I know that guy. So they come out, you stick around and you watch it. And I
don't think Orange Cassidy was the guy.
I mean, the thing is though that the Orange Cassidy reveal or drop is going to happen at some point. Maybe do it earlier on, because I mean, I don't know if you've noticed this, but they've certainly toned down a lot of his shtick from what he does on the indies. I mean, he puts his hands in his pockets and he still does those bits, but he's not like just wandering around barely doing anything like he does when he's in those indie matches. Like, I was shocked. I think it was in this match with Matt Hardy. He went to the top rope, and I said to Sky, who was watching it with me, my daughter, I said, "Oh, watch, he'll just flop off the top rope." And he didn't. He'd done a move. I think he'd done a swanton or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. He actually done a move. He didn't just collapse on him. So they've made him slightly more palatable, I think. Or he's made himself slightly more palatable to a standard wrestling fan.
I think the guy for that match, if you're trying to do known versus unknown, isn't someone with such a odd gimmick as Orange Cassidy. I think you put out a Jungle Boy, or you can't put out Darby Allin necessarily, because maybe you want to save him for later, but you put out like a Ricky Starks or somebody who's very good in the ring, but whose gimmick you can understand if you've never watched AEW before, because it can be very indie, but you have to get used to that over time.
Yeah, and I think the reasoning probably they put him there is, number one, I mean, he is a very good wrestler. When he jumps into it, he's very good. He's very smooth. It's also, it's not just people from the indies. This guy's entertaining. It's funny. He makes people laugh. He does silly shit in the ring, and it's the entertainment aspect as well on top of the wrestling and that sort of thing.
I don't think that's your first match. Okay. Because that's going to be the first episode of Dynamite that a lot of people watch. And I think you want to put that Orange Cassidy somewhere in the middle. So you don't want to open with it.
I mean, next you've got Lucha Bros versus Varsity Blondes.
A huge mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, very messy match. Surprisingly so. I think from what when I watched it, I was sort of going. Brian Pillman seemed to be a step behind everybody else for some reason.
Yeah.
He
did not look good.
Yeah, just.
Well, I gave Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy 2.75.
2 points. So yeah.
On the Grapple app, the average for it is 2.77.
Yeah.
So I'm not a million miles off.
Not anything amazing, just a bit better than that, bit above average, but decent match all the same. The right person went
Lucha
over
Brothers
as well in that.
Oh yeah.
Lucha Brothers versus Varsity Blondes. Lucha Bros go over with it's them going advancing in the tag tournament thing, isn't it?
Which is the most boring choice of the two, because when AEW started, the only matches that the Young Bucks had were versus the Lucha Brothers.
I mean, this is the first time they've gone back to it though since the very beginning. It was their very first proper pay-per-view, wasn't it? All Out.
Yes,
proper All Out. For their first pay-per-view, it was the last time they had a big match against them, I think. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's the Lucha Brothers versus fucking Young Bucks. It's going to be fucking amazing.
It'd be a great match. But the problem they have in their tag division is that there are 13, I think 12 or 13 active tag teams, and only 3 of them aren't heel.
Yeah, there's a lot of heel.
So they face the Jurassic Express, who they've already beat, and they've got the Lucha Brothers, who are not face or heel really, and then Varsity Blondes, who is the only other babyface tag team, who they have also already beat.
So literally, they're just like 10 of them are heels, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there needs to be a bit. I mean, the thing was, Lucha Brothers were being presented as heels for quite a while as well. They've been all over the place in terms of.
Well, they're sort of both, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't give a shit who they attack to a certain extent, or who they're fighting and stuff. But they definitely were leaning more on the heel aspects for the first half of their run there, and they've slowly turned back. It's very hard to boo the Lucha Brothers when you've got Rey Fenix fucking flying around doing crazy shit like he does.
He was doing brilliantly by himself.
Yeah.
And until he got injured, he was having an absolute gangbusters run on his own.
I was just going to say, I think you could quite easily, let the Lucha Brothers have this tag match with the Young Bucks, split them up, maybe not split them up, WWE style, split them up and have a feud with each other and then fuck off to main event or whatever. Have them just go their separate ways. I think you could easily have Rey Fenix be mid card to upper. You can drop him into a main. He's Rey Mysterio. You can just Rey Mysterio him quite easily.
Yeah, chuck him wherever you want.
But then to that end as well, I think you could. I was so excited. I was so looking forward to a Penta heel run with that guy being his mouthpiece when he had that match against Cody. That looked like where they were headed with that. I was a bit disappointed when they just sort of forgot about that. That was very WWE. Oh, that's over now.
Well,
sorry.
Cody can only wrestle people once, and then he has to disappear for 8 or 9 weeks.
He has to say, I need to think about my career and retire. Maybe I'm going to retire. I don't know. That's his.
Cody's like the Jeepers Creepers monster. He comes out every 1,000 years. He wrestles one person once. He wrestles QT Marshall 50 to 60 times, and then he disappears
again to film Go Big Show.
Yeah.
Weird.
Horse balls.
Jamie Hayter beats Red Velvet, as she should.
Was another huge mess of a match, but pulled back very nicely, I thought.
Yeah. It was again, a bit messy. Red Velvet is pretty green at this point, I think.
Yeah, she's still very, very new. Yeah,
still very new. She did okay. Again, right person went over. Jamie Hayter obviously re-debuted. That was on the debut episode of Rampage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, came back on that one.
But Red Velvet fucked up her moonsault, landed on the top of her scone. But then, rather than just lying there and waiting for her to get up and do it again, Jamie Hayter kicked the fuck out of her and then won. And that was the end. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Your opponent fucks up, kick her head off, pin her, job done.
Yeah,
You don't have to. And AEW have been guilty of this a bunch of times, where someone will go for something and get it wrong, so they'll just reset back a couple of spots and then do it again.
Do it again, yeah.
And it always looks dead awkward. And you can't just keep. But they didn't. She did it. She fucked it up. Jamie Hayter beat her head, and that was it.
I think it was a shame she had to COVID stop, because she made a few appearances way back, didn't she, before the pandemic, and then she got trapped in England. So there was that. Eddie Kingston and Darby Allin and John Moxley beat the Wingmen in a Who Gives a Fuck match. Like I say, Gaz will probably tell you all about the Wingmen and how he feels about those.
What are the Wingmen? Right? What are they?
For the fourth time, what is it?
What is Wingmen?
What is Wingman?
So the Wingmen are JD Drake, who looks like a Dickensian butcher, and then Cesar Bononi, who looks like a big, tall man. He looks like he could be quite good. Ryan Nemeth, who's just Dolph Ziggler's brother, shot damaged Dolph Ziggler. Because the actual real Dolph Ziggler, the real Dolph Ziggler is so mint. He's on TV so often, and he has such memorable runs.
Oh, yeah.
That AEW had to get their own. And then Peter Avalon, who's just a fucking librarian. Who, and I ask you this very seriously, who cares? Why are the wingmen on Dynamite? Why?
I think
Why
this
am I
should
being
be
forced to watch this
prefaced with
disparate group of men?
I believe 2.0, 2.0, whatever you want to call them, they were supposed to be on the show. I believe this was the spot that they were supposed to be in,
Right.
wrestling these guys. But it seems that they replaced them with the wingmen just because, nobody. Okay, you guys just jump in here and we'll put you in there.
Then just, you know what? Just don't do the match.
Yeah.
If you have to, if you have to go, what we'll do is we'll get in these 4 guys who have seemingly nothing in common, but who we've made into a stable regardless. We'll just plug them in, and that will somehow be good. And it wasn't. It was balls.
There has been a bit of that in AEW where they've put 3 or 4 people together seemingly for fuck all reason. But I'll say this: at the very least, when they do put them together, they stick with it. They've not, from what I can remember anyway.
They shouldn't. Sometimes not all ideas are good.
Yeah.
Not all ideas are good.
I mean, it's
just because Miro
wants
to come in as a gamer doesn't mean you should let him.
Yeah. That's true.
It's not. You have to start saying no to stuff.
Yeah. But not changing your mind every 4 seconds.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah.
But this match could have easily been, if you want to, after watching Rampage, if you want your new audience to be introduced to Darby Allin, because you've just seen that he's with Sting, who you've heard of, he's been challenged by CM Punk, who you've heard of at the pay-per-view, which you might watch, but you've never seen Darby Allin do anything.
Mm-hmm.
The very worst thing you can do, it's like, we've got Darby Allin, he's going to be wrestling. And with these guys, Eddie Kingston, he's really good, you don't know him, but he's great, and John Moxley from WWE, there's going to be wrestling these guys, there's fucking Butcher and his mates in this nothing match for no reason. Will it be good? No, it won't be good, it'll be shit. And all that goodwill that you built up, like, Darby Allin seems like he might be good. Oh no, wait, no, he's not. He's fighting this landlord. So why fucking bother?
Fucking landlord match.
It's just such a weird, foot forward to put in if you're trying to get people to care about the product that have never watched it before. Why are you showing me the wingmen?
So this was the second half of the show as well. This obviously with that after the women's match, this is where it started to take a bit of a dip.
And it was low to begin with.
Yeah. Gun Club beat the Factory.
Fuck me.
They need to stop with this factory shit, if you ask me. I'll rephrase that. They need to stop with QT Marshall.
Forever.
I had no problem with him being a talent wrestler, but giving him his own faction, making him a top higher level heel, no mate, it's not going to work.
1,000 times no.
1,000 times no, and even I will say that. Like I say, you guys accuse me of being a bit of an AEW apologist at times, but when it's not working, it's not working, and when people are just fucking folding their arms and going like, no mate, you need to I mean, at the very least, this match with the Big Show should come out and he should fucking smear QT Marshall on the mat. And then it can be over. They can turn on him. They can go, look, you promised us you were going to fucking lead us to wherever in AEW. You're going to lead us to success and titles and championships. And you went out there in your first match since we've become a thing, and you got your ass handed to you by Cody. You got out your second match and you've been fucking smeared on the mat by Big Show. Like 5 choke slams in a row, 1 foot on top of him, pin. They can turn on him because some of the other people who are in it are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, Aaron Solo's really good.
Yeah.
Nick Comotoro, as far as I know, I've only seen him do 1 or 2 things, but he's decent.
That's right. So, get those guys going. They can be their own thing. Just separate him the fuck away from... You can even carry on calling him the Factory if you want to, but just get that fucker away from him because no one gives a shit.
Here's the problem, though. Yes, you can have him come out and you can have the Big Show come out and 30 seconds, chokeslam, squash, but don't make me fucking pay for it. Don't put that on a card that you want money for.
I mean, is perhaps they're thinking that, people will pay to watch QT Marshall get fucking destroyed by the Big Show.
No, they won't.
Maybe you won't, but I wager some people might.
You can't put that on a show with CM Punk's first match back in 7 years, and then once everyone buys it at the end, go, well, it must have been because people wanted to see QT Marshall get beaten by the Big Show. No one is putting in a single penny for that match. And if the choice was $19.99 for the whole pay-per-view, or $19.98, and you don't have to watch that QT Marshall match, I would pay $19.98, and I would go out of my way. I would pay more. £21 for that match just to be black for however long that match is on. Not even the Rampage music or the Dynamite music, not even the logo.
Not even the
black screen. Nothing. If all it is out comes QT Marshall, the screen goes black. A minute and a half later, it comes back up again as Big Show walks out the ring. I would pay £2 to £3 more for that version.
Shit. There you go. Gun
no
Club
time
versus the Factory, small package to Marshall. Gun Club go up. Gun Club looked okay in the process, but again, weird match to put on a Dynamite right after that Rampage.
And they don't use the Gun Club on Dynamite, so even if you watch this one, you go, I've got Billy Gunn's there, I love him, and these are his kids, that's cool. They're not going to be on next week. So what are we doing?
Good point. And the main event, Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson. They set it up on a backstage thing, I believe on Rampage, or it was either Rampage or last week's Dynamite.
It was Rampage, yeah.
Malachi Black obviously murdered him, killed him dead. I didn't mind this. It wasn't much of a match, obviously, but the angle, I'm fine with the angle. Did it need to be the main event of the show? Probably not.
I can't get behind the main event squash.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. But like I say, I enjoyed the angle part of it. If anything, obviously people who are starting to watch AEW, they might see him and be, oh shit, he's there, is he? Because I think a lot of people really liked him in WWE and NXT and stuff, and I think people were willing to get on board with him. But obviously, they're booking him better here. They're giving him clout.
Stuff.
They're giving him stuff. For them
They
to put that angle as a main event.
They need to give him a wet wipe. That's what they need to give him. Because that black eye has gone from subtle greying around the eye, and now he's just doing the whole fucking left
I think
side
it
of the
is building up. I think it's getting bigger. I think that's on purpose, to be honest. I think
it looks
that's the thing.
stupid.
You're not a fan, no?
No.
No?
It looks really stupid, and it makes me not take him seriously.
Okay, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on here and give you my my wild theory. Is that if you've noticed, it's on the opposite side of his face to Darby Allin's half that he puts on. So I think that his face paint thing is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to get to the point where it's like half of his face and it's the opposite half and then he's going to feud with him over something, I don't know. That's just my weird.
Do you think they're going to start a half face paint stable with Thunder Rosa and Dustin Rhodes?
So they can put them on the poster like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The Invasion poster, but with those two.
They feud with Sting in a wet wipe on a pole match, and if Sting loses, they wipe half his face, and he has to join the faction.
Rampage sees the Lucha Brothers versus Jurassic Express. Lucha Brothers obviously go over, as we mentioned earlier, to face the Young Bucks at All Out in the steel cage match.
It was good, that.
Fantastic match.
Really, it was very good.
Match. If nothing else, I mean, if somebody followed on last week's Rampage from CM Punk's debut and went to watching this, that might have been your match to put on. Fucking.
You see, I don't just blanket hate everything because I really enjoyed this.
It was fucking.
I thought it was
great
really
match.
good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.25. The average on Grapple is 3.95, so I'm on that still.
I'd have gone 3.75, maybe not quite 4, 3.75 on that. I'd have gone
pushing a 4.
Really
good.
For some of them fucking the Destroyer on the outside, Jesus Christ, on the apron, fucking lunatics.
Well, they work really well together, those two teams.
Yeah.
And it's good because it makes Penta, who's not really a big guy, it makes him the big lad in his team versus Luchasaurus, who's the big lad in his team.
Yeah.
So it means when he comes in, he gets the big lad's hot tag, even though he's not that big of a lad.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
Yeah, it's good. Luchasaurus as well. I've noticed recently. I think he's dropped a few of the luchery things he used to doing, and he seems to be doing a bit more big man stuff, which works better for him. But he's still doing them kicks and stuff because they look lethal.
I think that's Mark Henry's influence, though. I think that's what Mark Henry's there for.
Probably the Big Show as well has probably been chatting to him about that as well, I'd imagine.
To teach their big guys more of a big guy style.
I think the thing is, I mean, Big Show used to do stuff like that way back in the day. Like, he used to do moonsaults and fucking missile drop kicks and all sorts of shit. I think that's fine, as long as you only do it one per match. You don't do, like, 12 of them in the same match. Because then, when you do that big one, you go, fuck me, that giant guy just did that fucking crazy thing off the top rope. That's insane.
Well, like when Kane used to come off the top rope, he didn't always do it. But he'd do it sometimes. Like, oh, fuck, here he goes.
Yeah. And it builds anticipation for that, but it also, keeps you looking giant. So, yeah, great match there. Bonnie defeats Tay Conti. Decent
I enjoyed that.
Women's match. Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Decent women's match. Perfectly fine. Puts over Bonnie. I really want them to put Tay Conti in something a little bit more. Put a little bit more emphasis on her. She's fucking great.
Yeah.
They were going.
Well, and this is the thing. You can't have more than one women's feud at a time. Even though they've got 2 shows now, it hasn't made any difference.
My thing with that is, I mean, you get, obviously it's a completely different show, but you're getting one more women's match a week. Gives them more time to do stuff, but there you go. They've used that spot there to put Bunny over a bit. She's a heel. Get her a bit more over, that sort of thing. Get her
but
a bit more hated.
For what, though? That's the problem. So, Britt Baker is essentially a heel at the minute, and she's the champion. So Bunny isn't going to be challenging her at any point because Bunny is a heel. So what are we doing? Who's she feuding with after this?
I mean, to say that Britt Baker is a heel is a bit of a stretch at this point. I know
but
she's supposed to be. She's acting like a heel, and she's got like 2 other women following her around and that sort of thing. She's still getting cheered for the most part.
Yeah, she's been packaged as a heel though. She's got a bodyguard. She's got a lackey. She's doing heel stuff.
I think that even if you drop Bunny in a title match against her though on a Dynamite, I think even if she they both carry on acting heel, the crowd's going to react face for Britt and heel for Con. Especially with the cheat to win that she did, which obviously used the breast nuts to get the win on that one. That was good.
They just need not necessarily a secondary women's title, although that would be good, but they just need another women's feud to be happening at the same time as the title feud.
So it doesn't just feel like it's one thing that's happening and the other things don't matter. Yeah,
and they need to go somewhere. So like let Tay Conti and the Bunny feud for a while and have one of them win, and then when they win, they move over. Like just how you book the men's division.
Yeah.
But with women.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, and they just can't seem to get their heads around doing it.
They definitely need to sort of get the ducks in a row with it. It feels like they're starting to, but now they've got 2. They haven't got the excuse of they've only got 2 hours of Dynamite anymore. They've got 3 hours.
Well, everyone's excuse was, wait for Rampage. Rampage is coming, and then you'll see. So, Rampage is here now.
I mean, I think they put their best foot forward on that by putting Britt Baker as the main event of that first one. That was a good goal.
For sure.
That was. It looked ace on telly as well when she came out, and everybody was going fucking mad for her. That was good. But now they need to follow up on it. I agree.
She needs challengers whose push hasn't happened entirely on YouTube. She needs people who have worked up to facing her on TV so we can all see it.
Yeah. And the main event of Rampage, Omega and Brandon Cutler versus Christian and the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian. This is pretty much just a comedy match to a certain extent. Gaz doesn't like it. I'll let you take it away, Gaz.
It's enough of this shit now, isn't
it? Is it?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm tired of comedy, BTE, YouTube, Kenny Omega doing Simpsons references to make Nick Jackson laugh. Like, we're not in your backyard now, mate. You're on the telly, so fucking act like it.
You're on the telly.
You can't. You're the AEW World Champion. Like, it's not your YouTube show anymore. You're not like riding around. You're not going to like armories for 400 people and doing like hilarious gags and falling asleep and throwing cold spray at each other. Like, you're on the telly. You're the alternative. You can't just come out in a Hawaiian shirt and call it good. Fucking belt up.
I loved it.
Hated it. What did you love about it? Talk to me.
I mean, I won't go as far as say I loved it. It was
You
was
fucking
good.
did say that. You did go as far as to say that. Already winding it back.
I like Omega's heel thing, and I know you don't. I think it's a lot more. People just think that he's doing stupid shit all the time, and I think there's a lot of nuance in it that nobody else sees, obviously. But I see other people noticing it and I'm like, okay, good. It wasn't just me who noticed him doing that. But I just thought it was funny because, like you say, Brandon Cutler got his ass handed to him for ages, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that Kenny Omega refused to get into the ring with Christian Cage. The issue I've got with all of this is obviously this is like a holding pattern, and obviously before CM Punk debuted, the whole thing was that people were miffed about, oh, why is Christian Cage getting the title shot all out? It's like, well, I mean, you know, number one, CM Punk's coming in, so I'd be very surprised if they don't go with that Darby Allin CM Punk match as the main event at that show.
They definitely should.
They definitely should do that. Rare instance where you'll hear me say that a title match shouldn't go on last.
I'm the same.
First match back in 7 years is a bigger deal than the world title is right now. That's not to say that the AEW title isn't a big deal. I think it is, but that's more important. The thing is, though, is that they're in this holding pattern until Hangman comes back. Obviously, he's taking time off to, you know, the birth of his child or whatever. That's all that happening and that sort of thing. He's fucked off to go and do that. So in the meantime, what do? This is what they're doing, and you know, people don't like it. You've got to fill the time. You've got to get it to the place. I think they've done a pretty good job of having the feud. Things are happening. You know what I mean? I mean, comparatively, fucking WWE. What would they have done in this? Kenny Omega and Christian would have had a match every week leading up to the pay-per-view against each other, trading wins. By the time they got to fucking pay-per-view time, they would have had 7 matches, no like promo time or anything. The way they've booked this, I've enjoyed it. I thought I'm not going to go on record and say it was the best match ever or anything like that. But for a pay-per-view, well, for a main event or Rampage, I thought it was decent. SmackDown.
Fucking hell.
This is the last of the shows that we're going to cover this week. This is
okay.
So we'll quickly run through this. Again, I didn't watch it. Did you?
No.
Bianca Belair beat Carmella, Zelina Vega, and Liv Morgan, last eliminating Morgan in some sort of elimination match.
Yeah, just bury them all. Bury everyone.
Well, she needs to bury some people after getting buried her fucking self at SummerSlam, doesn't she, Bianca Belair?
But then now there's no one. Yeah. So when Bianca Belair's done with getting buried by Becky, who does Becky face then? 3 of the women that she beat on her own.
Yeah.
What do we? Cares. What's? No, ridiculous.
Why did they? Apparently, the story is Becky came back and says, "I want to be heel." You know what Vince McMahon should have said to that? Yeah, no. Go and be a face because nobody is going to boo you. We've done that. You were bitching at us before that we were pushing you as a heel when you were over as fuck as a babyface, and now you want to do that again? No. Shut up. Fuck off out my office.
Becky Lynch is massively over. Not necessarily to the point that CM Punk was when he came back, but it's still a massive return.
Yeah.
And if he'd come back, I was like, yeah, I want to come back and I want to be like a monster heel, that you'd have been well within your rights to be like, look, mate, it's not going to work. No one.
Exactly.
No one's going to boo you, Doug.
It's ludicrous. And the way they wasted it on that, like she hit a finish and then that was it, wasn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Just a back and forth. Give them 15 minutes to have a match. Even if you can turn Becky heel in the process of the match without doing it the way you did.
Well, let her turn heel in a couple of weeks once we've got used to her being around.
Yeah.
And the fanfare's died off of the return. Then you can turn her heel. But WWE have got no fucking patience. They put Eva Marie and Piper Niven together about 5 weeks ago, and they're having a match on Raw tonight. What are we? They've got so much time to fill, and they're just pissing through storylines.
Exactly. So that happened. Cesaro beats Chad Gable via DQ when Otis interfered.
Yeah, to the delight of no one.
Oh, the way that was, I was so bummed out when Cesaro signed a contract extension, or was alleged to have done. Literally go
Cesaro
anywhere
likes
else.
surfing.
He loves that surfing, doesn't he?
He must do.
Shinsuke and Rick Boogs beat Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
Gives a fuck.
There's people saying that they enjoy this Shinsuke Rick Boogs thing, but I'm only looking at it from afar, and all I can see is former IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Japanese wrestling legend Shinsuke Nakamura fucking just, going through the motions. And Sami Zayn beat Dominic Mysterio. Again,
Yeah, fine.
Sami Zayn, one of my favourite wrestlers when he was in NXT and everything, and now I don't give a shit. So well done, WWE. You've managed to make two of your biggest fans not give a shit about literally anything that you do. Bravo.
Must be mental trying to be Sami Zayn every day. And like running a charity for Syrian refugees and then being told you can't go to the 19th Saudi Arabia show because you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And then he just gets up and goes to work there again the next day.
Weird.
So, well, I've got to work. Where everyone works is in some way inherently evil.
Hey, could you just literally work
see yours
anywhere else? That'd be great.
We can see WWE being evil. He gets up every morning and he checks his Sammy for Syria donations and he builds a hospital for refugees and then he walks to Castle Grayskull and goes and sweeps up for Skeletor every day. And it must make him sick. I don't know how he survived his life. He must be in knots all the time.
Your new NXT logo, everybody.
Fuck me.
I mean, it's not even so much the logo that annoys me. It's the edict.
It's a bit the logo, though.
Terms. Oh yeah, it's a bit the logo. Going forward, NXT will not be hiring independent wrestlers from the independent scene. They will be purely hiring athletes out of college and training them to be wrestlers. Thoughts on this, Gaz?
It seems odd to me that something that would stop you getting a job as a wrestler is knowing how to wrestle.
For fuck's sake.
I don't know that there's any other industry where knowing how to do the thing that the job is a detriment to your application. It's like, I want to be a fireman. Have you ever been a fireman before? Yes, I have. Well, then, get up the fucking road, mate. We're not interested. And you can get a job as a wrestler or a fireman, having not been either before. That's absolutely fine. If you can do other stuff, if you're charismatic and athletic, they can teach you how to wrestle. But having been a wrestler before shouldn't preclude you from being one now, just in that one company. It seems insane.
Why would they've had to sort of double down on this weird reframing of it as well, where everybody's saying, no, we like that wrestling stuff you were doing in NXT. Can we have some more of that, please? And they've gone, no, it's shit. It didn't draw viewers against AEW. So, our fans must want to watch big giant men bumping meat, basically.
Yeah.
And they've had to sort of try and explain it away that way. But no, we wanted that other thing that you were presenting us with.
It brings us full circle to the start again, where WWE is not a wrestling company.
Yeah.
So they're not hiring wrestlers. That's one thing, because you know what wrestling companies have? They have wrestlers in it. You can't be a wrestling company if you don't have any wrestlers. It's entertainment. They want big tall lads, to slowly crash into each other like buildings, and then you watch 3 or 4 of those, and then you call it a day.
I don't understand.
As the ratings drop, and also people have said, like, oh, you've got to let the NXT thing play out. You don't really know what's going to happen. You've just heard internet rumors. But this new logo is part 1 of the shitting of the bed that is NXT.
I mean, I'm going to enjoy watching it from afar. It's going to be an absolute car crash. I can't wait to see exactly what they think it is that it needed to be successful.
Utter bollocks.
Crazy. But anyway, from this inaugural episode of WrestleChats, I bid you farewell. See you later. Peace.